This video is all about remembering names and doing it fast. When I was a teacher, I had 120 students on day one, and by day three, I had mastered all 120 names. And this is how. I want to give you 5 tips that I've learned in the last decade that have helped me tremendously. The other thing I want to do is I want to talk about what happens if we forget, because that's going to happen. So I will say, out of these 5 tips, one of them is the most important. That is number 4. So remember that. The first thing that is really important is to shift our mindset. If we tell ourselves that we're really bad at names, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we want to shift that mindset to say, names are really important. They're one of the first identifying pieces of information, and everyone loves hearing their name said. So it's really important that we remember names. It's a form of trust as well. So we shift that mindset to say, names are really important. Let's focus on them. The second tip is, in the conversation, slow the conversation down. So somebody says, "Hi, I'm Lisa." "Hi, I'm Drew." "Lisa, it's so great to meet you." "What's your last name, Lisa?" "Oh, Lisa Brown." "Lisa Brown, what a great name." So I've slowed the name down. I've slowed the conversation down. And now I'm repeating it as well. And repeating it is tip number 3. Use it in the conversation. Now, tip number 4. Tip number 4 is, I think, the most powerful tip that I have to offer. It is associate the name with something or someone. I will use the real-life example. When I met my wife's name is Masali, and I struggled with it initially. And what I did is I repeated it. I used the strategy of repeating it, slowing down the conversation, but then I associated it with something else. So 2 things that stood out to me. I was like, Masali. Moss, like on a log, and 1 syllable. Has to be 1 syllable. Masali. And I got it right every single time. And so that association, something or someone, it could be Jim. "Oh, I know another Jim. I have a brother-in-law, Jim." Something like that, where you're associating that name with someone or something that is familiar to you. You're anchoring it to that. The last tip is to close with it, right? Close with the name. "It was so great to meet you, Lisa Brown." And then you're done. And so you have put your best foot forward in remembering these names. Now, it's going to happen where you forget them. So what do you do then? Now, if you've met a person one time and you see them again and you don't remember their name, just admit it. Just say, "Hey, I'm really sorry. I know that we've met before. I don't remember your name. Can you help me out?" And that person is going to be more than willing to be like, "Yeah, no problem. We've met one time. Here's my name." Now, you don't want to do that again. You want to make your best concerted effort to remember it from there. And if you come around the 3rd time and you forgot it, my best piece of advice would be to find someone else who might know that person and be like, "Hey, I can't remember this person's name. I served with this person. I ran into this person. Can you help me out?" And so you're not going to that person, but you're still finding a way to get that person's name, because you ultimately at the end of this want to get it right. My last tip is, if it's a name that you're really struggling with, one of the things I always did was I wrote it out phonetically. What does it sound like? And so that would be one last tip that I would leave you with. But if you're doing these things, you're putting yourself in a great position to remember names. And names are so important to people, to identity, and to loving people and welcoming people really well.